So good morning and welcome back. It's now Saturday morning. It's raining. Good thing we got everything in yesterday, because it's all a bit damp and soggy out there now. Pretty cold, pretty miserable, but got plenty to get on with, so not too bad. I'm going to change my pants and my shoes, head in and get going. Okay, well, I've put 3 little bits of plasterboard in so that we've got the shower tray in exactly the right position. I'm now going to mark where the drain will go in the floor, and then I'm going to cut that down out. We don't have to go all the way through to the cellar there. I'm just going to cut the hole and bring it across to the middle into this area here, where we'll then go down on a 50mm, which will then connect up with the main waste pipe. Okay, so there we go. The toilet's now off again and over there by the wall. So this is the 45-degree T that everything has to flow into. So we've got the sink coming in from there, and the shower and the little sink coming in from here. But I need to sink it further down, so I'm going to slot into the floor, left and right, because right underneath the tiles there's quite a bit of sort of dust and stuff, so that's quite easy. And we haven't got a lot of room to play with for the shower outlet. They don't make them any slimmer than the one I got, but the one I got still needs to be countersunk into the floor. So I'm going to have to go underneath this rail. That shouldn't be too hard. And then across, but it needs to be on a very slight incline, but it does need to be on an incline so that the water will run off the shower and into the loo. Someone mentioned, have you got something that will keep the smells back? Yeah, of course. The toilet obviously has a thing, and this is the shower siphon. So the water fills this bottom bit before it then flows up inside and round the top. This is a sealed unit, so I can't show it to you better than that. But that needs to go underneath. As you can see, that's 5 centimeters high, and we don't have that much space underneath the shower tray. So we're going to mark it, have it run across, and then somehow connect up with those there. Okay, well, we had a pretty rough night with the kids, so they have gone to take a nap. It's mid-morning now. The little one obviously does his morning nap, but even my better half wasn't feeling great, so she's gone to lie down as well, which means I can't make a lot of noise, which is not a huge problem, except that the next things on my list of things to do, and there is that sort of order, was cutting holes in the floor, and that's extremely loud. So I'm going to shoot down to Pontremoli, to the local town, and pick up a couple of things that I forgot at Bricoman yesterday, notably some pipe holders so that I can get the wastewater pipe held up against the wall for the little sink. And once we've done that, then I'll head back up, and hopefully, or probably by that time, they'll be up. I'm in the little Golf. It's not convertible weather, and it's certainly rattling down this road, but it's still driving very well. I'm very impressed with a car that was abandoned for 7 months in a field. It's perfect. So I'll go and get those things, those bits and bobs, and then once we get back up to the house, see if everyone's awake, and if they are, we can get on with some drilling and some cutting and some things like that. Okay, well, after some pretty successful chopping and hammering, we've got some space here, and we've got some space here. There's still some debris in there. So that space there is for this. Now it doesn't have to go right in because we weren't missing much. It's there is a bit of shower tray. So that'll sit there, and the pipe will come over here. And then we have this here, so that obviously, oops, twisted it the wrong way now. It'll go, that goes under there and connects up with that. That obviously goes down and out, and this is then for the sink. So I need to enlarge this a little more so that I can get a 90° on there. And then we can run the pipe up and across this wall to the sink, which will be here. So, so that's pretty good. Once everything's lined up, we'll fill up the spaces because I don't quite like it being that empty underneath this rail. With a bit of cement before we put everything back together. But that's once everything is lined up and plumbed in, then we can cement around the edges. So I'm quite happy with that actually. It was a dusty and sweaty half an hour, but we're in. So now we can see where we can bring the water pipes up, probably right around here. And then we can put the front rail back on, line everything back up for the loo. So yeah, no, it's quite complicated trying to get everything in the right order and everything lined up when you've really got only a very small amount of space to play with, and every centimetre in both directions counts. But I'm really quite happy with that. And in fact, it was quite fortuitous that the drain was in the corner, because if I tried to get that in the middle across to there, then I would have plumbed everything in. So there we go. Now I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so now that all of that is plumbed up, it's time to start thinking about getting the water pipes in. So this is 120 off the ground, which should be the right height for the shower control taps. A little bit high, but we're quite tall. Now, because this is going to come right up behind the plasterboard, these wooden supports, we need to notch them so that this goes in a little bit further back and we can connect up our hot and cold. So I'm going to do that now with just a normal hole saw. We don't need to go very deep, just literally from there to there. So I'll do that now. Okay, and there we go. So the bit of wood isn't straight, but this is perfectly straight. And from there we can just run our pipes down here. And that should be fine. So I've got the loo. I'm going to put the loo back in next, because that also needs water coming to it. And then obviously two that come out of this wall here, and one over there in the corner. And there we go, the loo's back in. Things are really beginning to take shape now, so you can, well, I can certainly imagine, I don't know how easy it is for you guys on the other end of the cameras, but we've got cold water to come in here, cold water there, hot water there, or the other way around. I'll have to look that up again just to make sure, check twice. Water there, water here. So I'm going to get on with that now. Decide the cleverest way to get water to all the various bits at their various heights. So, on every other build, I've started from the bottom and gone up, and someone told me a little while ago that it makes much more sense to start from the top and work down, less waste, much easier. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a little pipe here that'll go to a T and that'll feed this. Now, a long time ago, there was a problem that when someone went to the loo and flushed the loo and someone was stood under the shower, it took all of the cold water and you would be scalded. Now, as in the other bathroom, I'm going to be fitting a like a thermostatic shower thing, so you just set the temperature on one side and then open the water on the other side. And in fact that works really well, or it did in the other bathroom. If you flush the toilet you barely notice it in the shower, so that should be fine. Right, let me go and get everything I need and then show you how we use these pipes. Okay, well this is the same pipe I've used everywhere in the house. It's multistrata in Italian, and it's basically a multi-layer pipe. So there's, let's see if we can focus on that. There's oops, like, why won't it focus? Okay, let's go to the floor and then maybe we'll be able to focus better. So there's different layers of plastic and aluminium in there. You can use it for underfloor heating, but also for drinking water. So you have three main tools. This spring fits over the outside of the pipe like that. And when you make a bend, it stops the pipe from collapsing or folding, so that it keeps it nice and rounded throughout the bend. Then you have a little ratchet driven cutter, so that basically you just chop very cleanly. It's a pain, I can't focus properly on this, and squares off, and you don't want to get your finger in there because there's not much that will stop this. And then we have this here, and this opens up the end, so you just push it in like this and push it down, and it sort of opens the end of the pipe a little bit so that it can then slide onto this better. Now, I'm sorry, everything is out of focus. This is a disaster. There we go. So in here, you have a ring, like a bolt, and a little rubber seal. So you put, once you've taken this off, and you've made it a little bit wider, oops, you put this on first, then the seal up to the end, push that in, and then tighten it back up, and that's it. And I've done this all over the house so far, and it's been watertight, so that's brilliant. So I'm going to make up some little sections of pipe. We're going to come down, as I said, from the cold first, a little T onto the loo, and then down, and another two T's, one across to the sink that will be here, and one to the sink in the loo. Okay, well there's the start of it. So cold water splits into the loo, warm water, because obviously of the constraints, had to do a loop around the back, and then they come down here. So now cold water will split off to the right, and hot and cold water down here will split off to the left. The height of our sink is here, 85 centimeters above the ground. That's where the sink is supposed to be. So, because we use these little taps that go under the sink, so you can turn off the water and change the fittings, or if there's a problem, or if the tap leaks, will be coming out of the wall about 15 centimeters lower than the sink, so probably at about 70, and then the drain will be below that. So all of those three are going to come out here above this little section wall, and that should be perfect. So I'm going to keep going now, and I'm going to run the cold water pipe from there through here and around that corner. And there we go, so it's now set up. There are our two pipes for that sink. There are the T's, so this will go down to the cold water line, and this one will go down to the hot water line. And just the other side is the temporary kitchen, so we haven't got far to patch onto. And that'll go out to the sink. There's the shower and the loo. So I'm really quite happy with that. Doesn't look like I've done much today, but it's a lot of fiddly stuff, and I had to pop into town to pick up some pipe holders. So I'm not unhappy with that. I think that'll be fine. And obviously getting this downpipe in and that all working has been a great success. Obviously, this is not how it's going to fit. Let's sit lower and it goes underneath, but you get the idea. And there we are, another productive day. The weather hasn't improved much. It's still kind of damp and it's not particularly cold, but I think most of Europe at the moment is having a bit of a poor weather spell. I read something, I think that it's been one of the coldest Mays on record so far. I think March was very, very warm, and now it's just it's not so great. So I think that's going to be it for today. Tomorrow the sun is shining and we might well go to the beach, because this is also a holiday, but if we do go to the beach, I'll certainly take you with me. I'll show you what we had for lunch, show you what the beach is looking like now, see how many people are around. There were a couple of questions over the last couple of videos. One was, where does the wastewater go? Well, surprisingly enough, the village does have mains drains. So there is like a little separating tank, but then it all goes off under the road and down to the very bottom of the village, so even further down than the bottom cooperativa and further down than where the rubbish bins are, so really right down at the entrance to the village. There's like a mini wastewater plant. What else did I hear? Yes, there were quite a few questions about that wall between the loo and the shower not moving. Now, I'm going to obviously try and make it as rigid as possible. I think it will be very rigid, but as I did in the other shower, I'll be using the blue stuff to waterproof line all of the walls with the rubber strips in the corners, so that will, even with a little bit of movement, not start leaking and there won't be water seepage. This is an earthquake zone anyway. This is, you know, everything's going to end up moving. This house is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. So so that should hopefully solve that. And again, I think we're going to do the micro cement in the shower as we did in the other shower, and probably in the loo as well, because I think it looks fabulous. It's really easy to do, much easier than tiling was. And I really do think it looks pretty good. So if we do that, then again, that'll be, as in the other bathroom, 3 separate walls done with it, and then silicone up in the corners and around the shower tray. And that's held so far, well, I mean, it hasn't held very long, but it's held a year with the movement around the house. So so I think that's probably the solution we'll go for. Okay, well that really is about it for today. For those of you who've just joined us, this is me messing about in my midlife crisis house, which needs complete renovation. And I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm sort of muddling through by reading the instructions. For those of you who don't like the piano music, I shall look for other piano music from the same artist. For those of you who do like the piano music, there'll be more piano music from the same artist, so it'll become a little bit more varied. In the meanwhile, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've had an excellent day, or if you're just waking up, I hope you have an excellent day. If you enjoy these videos, do subscribe. We seem to have less than, well, it's hard to tell with the information that Google passes on or that YouTube passes on, but it looks like only about 1/3 of the viewers are actually subscribed. So if you want to keep up and not miss any of this, then do subscribe. And for everyone else, well, thank you very much. Thanks for watching the ads, and thank you for commenting. Thank you for spending your time watching this. Take care, and bye-bye for now.